Well, it's fall here in the Great Lakes and time for one of my favorite fall activities, and that's catching yellow perch on the Detroit River. So today I'm going to go over where and when we find these fish so you can enjoy a great fall day out in the water. And at the end of the video, I'll show you a couple of bonus catches that make these fishing trips in the Detroit River even more exciting. So stick around. So yellow perch fishing on the river really heats up when the water temps drop into the 50s.
Here's a keeper.
Having fished the river for them for many years, that's when the fish really seem to get going, and it's also when the weeds and grass begin to die down a bit, which makes the fish more accessible. Early in the fall, start by exploring the weed lines at the edge of the weed flats near the channels. As the water cools, the fish generally move shallower, which means they'll be moving up from the deeper depths of the channel into the shallow weed flats. If you find them in 12 foot of water one day, you might find them in 9 foot of water a week later. The general trend is that they'll move shallower with dropping water temperatures. Just remember that when fishing the Detroit River, you're fishing relatively close to the Canadian border. So if you intend to cross over into Ontario waters, make sure you follow border crossing protocol and have an Ontario fishing license. Once the weeds have really died down, you can start to explore the weed flats. Look for areas within the flats where the weeds are completely gone. Another thing to look for is deeper holes within these weed flats. These depressions can have cooler water near the bottom and are often where the fish are holding. Before we go on, please remember to hit that like button, ring that bell to be notified of our future videos, and click that subscribe button. These 3 things really help the channel out. Thanks. One of the great things about Great Lakes perch fishing is that it's a great way to introduce kids to the sport. Kids are easily bored, so it helps to have action that's nonstop. In addition, there's lots of incidental catches of some larger species, as you'll see at the end of this video. And finally, there are often freighters passing by, and there is no better place to get an up-close view of these freighters than while perch fishing on the Detroit River. If you haven't checked out my video on how to create your own perch rig, it's worth checking out, especially if you're going to do fishing here in the river. And the reason is because the rig that I tie up in that video gives you the option of attaching your line to the hook pretty much anywhere you'd like above your bell sinker. So if you are fishing in an area that still has some weeds, even though maybe they're kind of laying on the bottom, but you're finding yourself pulling a lot of them up, you can simply reattach your hook higher up the line by simply making a loop in your line. And I go into detail on how to do that in that video. But that certainly is an advantage when you're fishing in the river. Out on Lake Erie, almost all of the time, the fish are right down on the bottom. But here in the river, while they do tend to hold to the bottom, when they're cruising these weed flats, if there's weeds, they will be just above the tips of the weeds sometimes. And being able to get your hook above those weeds so you're not just constantly getting tangled in weeds is helpful. One of the things I found in the river is that you tend to catch a mixed bag of perch in terms of size. So you'll catch plenty of smaller ones that you'll have to throw back, but then, one out of every so many fish will be a really nice sized fish that you can throw in the cooler.
Ooh, here's a nice one. Man, look at that guy.
Oh, wow. Big one of the day.
Now, I mentioned earlier that one of the exciting things about this, especially for kids, is that you can often catch some different species while you're perch fishing like this with these live minnows. And as you're going to see here in the following clips, some of these fish are quite large.
Oh, man. Wow. I don't know what it is. If it's a smallmouth, it's a huge smallmouth.
Now, unfortunately, I lose this fish, but as you'll see with the next couple of fish, I don't miss them.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, pretty nice one too. Yeah, if you don't mind. Oh man, this thing's a beast. Let's see it. Come here. Thinker. Woo! It's a nice one.
Wow.
313. All right. Here's another big smallmouth. You got that net? Thanks. Oh, come here. 310. Look at that. That is a pig.
Well, guys, that's about going to wrap it up for today. Hope you learned a little bit about perch fishing the late season in the Detroit River. And if you have any questions on it, feel free to reach out and drop a comment in the comment section, and I'd be happy to answer you. And as always, thanks for watching.